The A96 Action Group was started by a group of residents and business owners in the areas affected by Transport Scotland's proposals to build a new dual carriageway replacing the existing A96 to the northeast of Inverurie. The original Bulbithen group has been joined by groups in Keithhall and Boorty, Wortle and Daviot. We believe that these proposed routes, known as violet, green and blue, will decimate prime agricultural land, permanently destroy the landscape, have a hugely adverse effect on the environment and, at the end of the day, fail to solve Inverurie's traffic problems.
I'm George Green, I farm near Daviot, and one of the proposed routes for the new A96 goes right through the middle of my farm. And this annoys me considerably. It's some of the best land there is in the area. It's going to remove some of my land from production. I'll lose the land, but it also leaves me with, instead of 2 nice big fields, it will leave me with 4 awkward shaped fields that are less efficient to work, take more time, use more fuel, wastes resources. I really can't understand why they need to take some of the best land out of production, land that's been improved by generation after generation of farmers, when there's any amount of poorer quality land around that the road can go through.
Traffic Scotland have proposed new routes of the A96 to bypass Inverurie. This will not help the traffic congestion in Inverurie right now because it does not solve the existing problems, and it has been made without consideration of the actual feeder input into Inverurie from Old Meldrum and Rothinorman. These figures have not been measured at all. In addition, it does not take into account the new traffic flow that would occur after the AWPR is actually put into place and actually working. And also it does not consider the new train routes between Inverurie and Aberdeen, which will have a 15-minute service, which will relieve the pressure probably on commuter traffic. So Transport Scotland needs to make some more measurements after all of these things have taken place.
On a sobering note for Inverurie's traders, the proposed northern routes will draw traffic away from the town centre and reduce vital footfall. We strongly believe that with some adjustments to the existing A96, we would have a road that's fit for purpose and at a fraction of the cost of the proposed routes. Widening the existing A96 instead of creating a new 28-mile 4-lane highway would not only solve Inverurie's traffic problems, it would halve the greenhouse gas emissions, minimise the economic cost and with little or no impact on rural communities. A large part of the road between Inverurie's 2 roundabouts is already wide enough to be dualled. It's only a small section where a lack of coordinated, forward-thinking and joined-up planning has allowed planning permission for buildings close to the existing A96. For the rest of the route to Huntly, the impact of widening the existing road would be smaller than a whole new road.
The Scottish Government has the ambition to reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 80% by the year 2050. So it doesn't make much sense to expend 1.7 million tonnes of CO2 to build a brand new road which will encourage car use when they can just improve the existing A96 and it would only cost 100,000 tonnes. That is a no-brainer.
The bit of the violet route that I'm having difficulty understanding is the proposed bridge across the floodplain. If you look at where it's proposed, it crosses one of the widest points of the River Don floodplain, which is about 500 metres wide. Then, if you consider that it's got to cross a railway line and it's also a curved bridge, then you end off with a 600-metre bridge, which is over twice as long as any bridge in the Aberdeen or the Shire area. So it will be a very expensive bridge to construct. The aspect as well is it will be constructed in a riverbed, so the foundations will need to be quite substantial. My expectation is that during a flooding event, because the water has to pass through a restricted area, that it will exacerbate flooding upstream of that point. And we all remember what happened at the beginning of 2016. So I would expect that in a similar event we'd have exacerbated flooding in the Inverurie, Port Elphinston and Osprey village areas.
The option of dualling the existing A96 where traffic density warrants, providing overtaking lanes and passing lay-bys to ease the flow of traffic, would reduce frustration, it would satisfy Transport Scotland's integrated transport improvement criteria, solve Inverurie's traffic congestion, avoid widespread destruction of the countryside, avoid the dangers of flooding, all for minimum expenditure in both taxpayers' money and greenhouse gas emissions.
So what can you do? Well, if you feel you might be affected, and if you live within 1 mile either side of any of the routes you will be, you should write to Transport Scotland, the Transport Minister, the First Minister, the Cabinet Secretaries for Rural Economy and Environment, MPs and MSPs. Now that sounds pretty daunting, I know, but we have made it very easy for you to do this by producing a tick box form with a section for you to add any additional information, which you can download from either our website, www.A96action.com, or our Facebook page, A96 Action. The addresses that you need to send the forms to are on both those sites, and please be aware that all feedback to Transport Scotland must be in by the 22nd of November.